You're listening to the Red Hot Gamers Podcast at www.redhotgamers.co.uk. Okay, good evening everyone. Welcome to the Red Hot Gamers Podcast, episode 4. We have got a pretty much full house. We should have one in a little bit. We've got Bruiser, Morel, the Reverend, and myself, Blade. Welcome to the show, everybody. Let's rock through what we've been doing over the past week, shall we? Bruiser, if you want to kick us off?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let me kind of get right into it. I've been doing a lot of self-reflection on my computer specs, and I just realized, you know what? I'm not cutting it. I'm not cutting it with this GTX 760. It's time to upgrade. And, I mean, what better reason than, Skyrim is life. So I've decided that if I'm going to dedicate to running more mods, I need more VRAM. So I've been doing a lot of research on that. And my computer that is literally a 10-ounce computer, this thing is way too light for its own good. I'm going to somehow fit a GTX 980 inside of that little baby bitch machine, and it's going to be glorious. So I've really just been dedicating all my free time to reading product reviews, reading about issues people are having with overheating or overclocking, etc. And then, of course, more of the usual, just testing out way too many mods, and it's been a blast, actually. I've been learning a lot about just performance monitoring in a 3-year-old, 4-year-old game, and it's like becoming completely different. I mean, from 3-4 weeks ago when we talked on the initial podcast, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm not going to mod my game. I'm just going to play vanilla Skyrim for as long as I can. Nope. Those days are gone. Those days are out of there. So
yeah, how many mods you got at the minute?
Right now, I'm running like 112. Yeah, so it's pretty awesome. It's getting there, but see, I need more VRAM.
All those posh
that's
rooks.
112 mods. I'm running. I'm still running at a solid 60 frames per second. I'll get like a 3-frame drop every now and then in a really lush area, but I'm still holding down 60 frames at 1080p with 112 mods. So
it's not bad.
Not bad. I'll take that. That's not bad.
What you're saying is you don't need that new card.
Yeah.
Nope. Gotta have it because you never know. Like again, I might want to fire up Minecraft and be able to get like 1,000 frames, except not ever. But no, I'm excited about it because I think what I'll probably end up doing is I found a guy who's interested in buying the 760 on Craigslist. I don't know if you guys use Craigslist over there, but
like eBay.
It's popular resale site, kind of like the.
I always thought it was a porn directory, but is that something different?
Kind of in a weird way. It's got some dark sides to it, but I found a guy who may be interested in buying it. So it basically would make the price difference overall, but that's just kind of a theoretical thing. I'm really determining if it's going to be worth any sort of investment, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm just having fun with it, but I've been doing that over the last week, more or less, and
cool.
Yeah. What about you guys?
Yeah, Morel, what you been playing, my friend? Up in Canada?
Well, truth be told, I've been watching my brother play the Battlefield Hardlines beta the last couple days. It looks great, but it would murder my computer, and I'm so jealous. It looks like what All Points Bulletin should have been, and that, to me, like, All Points Bulletin was just the perfect sounding MMO for me, and they screwed the pooch on it. But Hardlines looks really great, and I can't wait to get a computer that can run it. Other than that, mostly just...
Know a guy with a graphics card for sale.
Oh, do you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
I know, somebody's probably selling.
Well, see, it's kind of funny. I've been talking to this dude on Craigslist, so,
there it is.
Are
you trying to arrange a meeting somewhere?
Well,
we're gonna the halfway
with any luck,
point
he's going to meet me. There's a truck stop close by. It's about 15 miles from the nearest building.
It's got all the reviews of Morel's performances on the door.
Yep, we'll meet in Minnesota somewhere.
Comment.
So that's a pretty close.
Rev, my friend, what have you been up to?
Sir, I've been obsessively dominated by Dying Light. I'll be honest. I know you've reached completion. With the game also, and
you have completed. Did you say?
I haven't. No. So no spoilers.
Well,
no spoilers.
You're gonna have to take your headphone off in a minute then, because.
Oh God damn you! We can't do that to the listeners. Surely you can't give away an ending, sir.
I can. I need.
Right,
it needs to be talked about.
I'm out of it, not listening to this for like.
I mean,
a week or
hell,
so.
I'm not gonna play it, so I'm not gonna be. My feelings won't be hurt.
You're gonna have to do big disclaimers on that one. But yeah, no, I genuinely love that game. Really, really like it. Other than that, Arma 3 Epoch as per usual, and ultraslife.co.uk as per usual.
Of course.
So yeah, that's my lot. What have you been playing, sir?
What have I been playing? Well, I've finished Dying Light.
You don't say.
Yeah, surprise. And yes, I will talk about that in a second. I've also been playing Theme Hospital quite a lot. I don't know whether you've seen it's been free on Origin for a while.
I suggest you upgrade your graphics card before playing it, though.
Yeah, you
It's
probably
a
need a
beast.
980.
It's I absolutely love Theme Hospital though. It was a great game. I tried the Hardline beta for probably about an hour before I decided that it was a crock of shit, to be quite honest.
Really?
Yeah.
I downloaded it.
I didn't like it.
I don't even think I'm going to touch it. That's
I'm
the
not a
sad
Battlefield
part.
fan.
It just strikes me as Payday, but not as good.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's not exactly original idea, and I mean, it's more of a mod, really, if anything. I don't care much.
Well, I mean,
for
they
it.
don't have the whole game out yet.
No, I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
So
But-
it's one thing, I think, if you're interested in that sort of thing,
Fucking
keep an
hell.
eye on it.
Got
Someone's hard at it.
I've got a cold. It's purely for medicinal purposes.
Of course. Right, okay, I'm going to have 1 minute, Benj. 1 minute, I'm going to time myself.
Give me the
Spoiler
big-
for anybody listening.
Big thumbs up.
I will, I'll give you a
for
big
when
thumbs up when I
finish.
finished. So anyone who doesn't want to have the ending of Dying Light spoiled...
You can't watch this part of the podcast.
Yeah, skip forward a minute. Starting now.
We should just put our thumbs up so he thinks we're done.
Yeah. Okay. So the last level of the game, you've got to go to the bad guy's tower, and you've got to go through the sewers to do it. And it's like a big chase thing. You've got these really fucking fast zombie games. You've got to jump and vault and all sorts of it. It's the most frustrating level ever. There's so much balancing and jumping, and if you fall, you die. You start back at the beginning of the fucking level again. There's no sort of like...
God.
Yeah, I mean, it's horrible. I eventually fucking got to the top of this fucking rooftop of this building where this dude is, and it's a 6-button quick time event. After all of that, it's just like
What?
X, B, A, B, X, A. You've won the game. It's
That
shit.
was it? It was
Yeah,
a quick
I mean,
time event?
yeah,
I mean,
quick time
that
event.
doesn't surprise me. I mean, that sounds like a lot of other monumentally
I know, but
failed endings, but
they need
that's...
to be taken out of the ending of games. It's so fucking
They really
annoying.
do. It's pretty bad. I can think of several, and
Anyway.
most disappointing I think of any recent game for me. It was back when the Halo 4 came out, and I finished that, and that fucking ending was spoiler to anybody who hasn't played the game since it's been out for God knows how long. Yeah, same deal. You had just a quick time event. You're right there at the end,
it's
and I'm just
terrible.
like, really? Come
Anyway,
on now.
spoiler over. Benji, hello.
Yep, we're good.
We're good.
Yep.
We're good, my
And we're
friend.
back. Boom.
Yes. Other than that,
I
I've
do
been.
hope you slapped a disclaimer on that, sir.
Yes, I did.
Good.
He's going to be disappointed to hear that Harrison Ford's in the ending.
I know, and
that's
aliens come up
Oh,
out
yeah.
of the floor and
It's
shit.
really
It's terrible.
stupid. It's just craziness. I don't even understand how it's possible.
Other than that, it's
Yeah, Martha
Hearthstone.
Stewart comes out. There's a
What do
cooking
you mean
show.
Bruce Willis
It's
was
too
dead
much.
all along? Fuck you!
Yep, you've been dead all along. That's actually true. Yep.
Shit.
Yeah, other than that, I've just been playing a bit of Hearthstone. I've been running with my awesome little shaman deck that I built about a week ago and trying to fucking level up as far as much as I can. How have I been getting on with it, Morel?
Oh, if I could just cause one thing in the world not to happen, it would be you finding that shaman deck. Like, it's so
The
obscene.
one
It's
thing.
one of those, unless you have such a strong early game deck that you can just control the field completely,
Yeah,
like, there's no stopping them. Absolutely no.
it's great.
So basically,
I love it.
you're sponsored now. It's official. You've gone pro.
Oh,
You're just
yeah, damn
100%
right.
you're-
World exclusive. I'm chucking my name in the hat.
There it is.
And I'm going to
100%.
cheat just like all those Counter-Strike boys.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right.
There you
'Cause,
go.
You
That
know,
was a fun bit.
fucking shock horror. You've got all these teenage lads being offered thousands of dollars in prize money, and they're using cheats. I'd have never have been fucking surprised by that at all.
Yeah. No, not at all. Well, that and I mean, come on now. You're basically throwing matches on purpose.
Yeah.
that doesn't. Oh my God, that's really crazy. But hey, do what you do. I guess the life of a Counter-Strike pro, hard fought. It's the struggle. That's the struggle to make a living playing a video game. Oh my goodness.
I'm honestly just still surprised, like, Counter-Strike's still a thing.
I'm not.
It's the unlockables. It's the unlockables, dude. I gave it a go. I didn't enjoy it, but then my friend Wilco got a 90 quid knife and then sold it. So that's Grand Theft Auto bought. That's Dying Light bought. That's half of another game, and I'm like, it kind of makes me want to play, but I played it, didn't enjoy it.
That's fair enough. Quick
so
shout out.
He unlocked a knife.
You
sold it for real money.
Yes, yeah, you can sell it on the Steam.
Not real money, Steam money. So it's in your Steam wallet, which you can use to redeem games and stuff.
Interesting. Okay.
You can legit. That's really that. It's that unlockable system. People will pay. I think the most expensive knife's like 1,500 quid.
What?
Shit,
Yeah, about $2,500 US.
It's ridiculous.
Oh my God. Okay.
Straight up.
Now you know why a load of teenage boys are playing Counter-Strike and cheating to do it.
Yeah, wow.
True.
Jesus, man. Okay.
Yeah, so right, before we go any further, just to mention our giveaway this month, it is 7 Days to Die, courtesy of our friends, the Fun Pimps. Beautiful. Well done, lads. All you have to do, sign up to the Red Hot Gamers mailing list over at redhotgamers.co.uk, as always, and it'll be drawn at the end of this month. Oh, hey. Good luck.
Spectacular.
Okay, first on the agenda tonight. Sorry, Bruce, do you want to chip in something?
Oh, no, I was saying that's still a $25 game.
That's yes.
Insanity. I cannot even believe that.
Game. I love that game.
Yeah, it's
Genuinely
cracking.
love it.
So first up tonight, I want to talk a little bit about Steam Early Access. There's a game called Under the Ocean that's been pulled from EA after... Basically, there's two blokes developing this game. They had the lead developer and programmer, and they had a bit of a falling out over the direction that they wanted to take the game in. So the programmer up sticks and left, just leaving the lead dev, or just the dev, I suppose now, seeing as he's got nobody to lead. Who can do a bit of coding, he said. It's not as though he doesn't know what he's doing, but obviously progress is going to be extremely slowed down.
That's held up my faith in the project.
Indeed.
Do a bit of coding. I sorted out my MySpace years ago.
I know my HTML.
HTML.
I don't think copying and pasting is going to cut it, man.
Yeah, so instead of leaving the product out there and obviously people still being able to buy into the game and getting what is a certainly nowhere near finished project, he's decided to pull it from the store.
But of course.
Completely, yes. Which he's actually got quite a lot of praise for. People have said, admired his honesty. He wants to change the game quite a lot, so what he's going to develop the game into is going to be probably not comparable that much to the game that is or was up there originally. So, it's probably the right thing to do, and that's fair enough. But there's been other instances like Double Fine, their space-based DF9. They basically decided that they weren't getting enough money from early access to finish the game, so they just released it instead. They just said, right, yes, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's complete garbage.
This game was still in alpha,
worse.
and they've just said, do you know what? Fuck this. It's too much hassle. We'll just slap a release on it and say it's the finished article, which is horseshit. To be,
no, I would agree with that.
But it's so prevalent. The only difference is that these guys are getting coverage. Obviously, the one guy pulling his project, being a hero about it, and that's cool. But then I would argue H1Z1 for me didn't feel finished. Clunky as shit.
Well, no, but it's not as though they've released that as a finished game, though, is it?
It's
true.
not. But it's. They know people are going to pay for the damn thing. In fact, they're worse. It's going to be a free-to-play game when it's finished.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pay 50 quid now?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
I mean, I guess when you
keep
think
forgetting
about
about
the way that they chose to at least pull the project. I mean, yeah, I admired the companies that are, for example, I guess not rather in the situation of DF9 and Double Fines, but yes, the initial dev, who is the only remaining on that particular project, he made a good decision. That is exactly what you need to do, because it leaves it leaves people like me, at least, not wondering where the hell the money's going, but instead, it has me realize that if they chose to make an executive decision, that they chose to make an executive decision and they did what I think was right by just not only their reputation but the people involved.
Yeah.
So I think that's great. And then aside from that, the concept of double fines and space base, that's basically, I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, you have to realize that if you're going to go forward with something like that and then you just put it out there as a finished product, I don't understand what you could have been thinking, because that's been the whole last year's conversation. Yeah. I mean, seriously, that really just all the failed releases and the beta testing, and then it's put out as sort of a final product, and there's day one updates, and it just ties into that. That's a mess. That really is.
I think the issue is, though, back in the day, an early access game meant you were getting a game that was pretty much done or pretty much playable, and there was going to be updates coming. Now what we're seeing is these raggedy...
Yeah, it's like as alpha as pre-alpha in some situations.
Yeah,
right.
And, because, look at Minecraft. It was early access. I think I bought it when it was like $5 Canadian or something. Mm-hmm. And then look what that became. But we're seeing a lot more of these... what was that really terrible Russian knockoff of DayZ?
Miscreated?
Survivarium?
No. Yeah, the old one. They got a lot of flack. Warzy. We're seeing these games that are being repurposed or just garbage to begin with, and they're just like, let's grab as much money as we can. Mm-hmm. I think consumers should start demanding the right to ensure that anything that calls itself early access is just that.
Mm-hmm.
It depends how you're
getting what you can expect.
I mean, well, it is true, but then, to be honest, there's a good portion of the reason I'm a PC gamer is for early access games. We're playing games. I mean, eventually DayZ in theory is going to end up on the next gen consoles. Now, how long that will be, I don't know. But DayZ was a big reason I became a PC gamer, early access game, and then down the line, I'm playing games. 7 Days to Die, I see that could get ported eventually, and that's an amazing game. Space Engineers, which, to be fair, I've not played in a while, but they are updating pretty much weekly. And so, for me, that was pretty much an incredible sort of finished game. Very, very complex, very, very nerdy. But the fact that they're doing so much work, and it's actually sort of user suggestions that they're making into content. So it's like, we'd really like pistons, so we could build this. So, within a few weeks, they've developed a whole new technology to go in the game. And it's just so clever what they've done. But then, when you buy a game, you take that risk. You do not know whether it's going to end up any good or whether the devs are actually going to bother. You just don't know.
Well, that's the thing. It is a gamble at the end of the day, isn't it?
It is, and you're getting a cheap game. I mean, as much as we've all complained.
H1Z1.
Well, yeah, but they gave us our money back. So anyone buying that now is they know the reviews are out there. And I think that's fair enough. I think that's perfectly fair that they said, look, if you want your money back this weekend, that's fine. You bought it without knowing. You didn't see the reviews. You didn't know how it was going to be. And yet, that's still up in the top 15 on Twitch every day. It is. And I look at it and I'm like, it fucking sucks. It really, it's not a pretty game. It plays clunky. And you just compare that to DayZ, there is no comparison. And yet, in DayZ's favour, it's not developed as quickly as I'd like. But it's still an incredibly ambitious project, and I think you've got to look at these things and say, well, they can't. You take the gamble or you don't. It's early access, so occasionally you're going to have these sort of issues where a game just gets blown out of the water, ripped off the shelves, or it gets released half-ass finished, and that's the risk you take. At the end of the day, you've been playing that game like a year before anyone else is going to get there's grubby little mitts on it, so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And on the flip side of this, though, you keep mentioning cheap games. I went and dropped $30 on RimWorld for early access and that, and I don't regret a penny of it. I think we need to expect a certain quality, and I mean, the same pitfalls are going to fall with AAA games as well. You're mentioning H1Z1. It was more or less garbage when it was released. I think it's just the whole early access now that everyone's jumping on the bandwagon. We have to be more careful.
Oh, definitely. The only issue, and we've said it before, with H1Z1 is having the name Sony behind it. Kind of makes you think this is going to be better than, just a dev that you've never heard of. That's only 2 people working in their basement in Eastern Europe somewhere. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, with the exception of the fact that they sold off the actual name, though. I mean,
that's other news. Yeah, Sony Online Entertainment is no longer Sony Online Entertainment because they sold them.
Yeah, the fucking H1Z1.
Yeah,
I mean, it's associated with that shit.
Who are you? Who developed you? And then what? Who's carrying the name on? I mean, where's it going? Where's the project leading? I mean, yeah, these are all questions that I think become pretty obvious the moment that everything just falls apart. Then you're left with a product that still isn't done, and then people are still buying into something that isn't nearly where it needs to be, and now also doesn't have the, I guess, fundamental backing in order to put it into a complete state. I mean, you're right though about H1Z1 probably coming to console. It's just a matter of when, and then if they can afford to produce that, I think that it'll make all the money it could ever have hoped to. I mean, because there is such a strong console support, especially in the United States. But I don't really see how that'd be feasible for even a couple of years, right? I mean, what are they talking about a finalized version of this game? Well, I guess finalized in terms of depending on who's reviewing the product. I don't know. Some people would say it's perfect.
Because, in all fairness, they'll probably release a half-ass finished game and just sell it anyway. Yeah. Do they even give a shit?
Probably not.
That's the whole issue. So you take it on the chin when you buy any sort of early access game. And obviously you're paying less. I mean, normally you're looking 10, 15 quid tops. You take that on the chin. Sometimes you'll get a bad one, but I think for the diamonds in the rough that you do get, it's a worthy gamble. Always.
Right.
It's worth it.
It is, and you have to consider as well that some of these games wouldn't have the funding to be able to finish. Some of these diamonds wouldn't have the funding to get finished if it wasn't for early access. So you do have to appreciate that, I suppose, as well.
100%.
But just going back to the Starbase game, it's still on Steam. It's slightly less than what it was originally now, but it's still on Steam for £15. So what's that? About $25. Which for a game that is basically alpha and that's all you're ever going to get, I think is a bit of a rip-off.
Crazy.
Yeah,
that's unacceptable. But I mean, such is life. If that's how they're gonna claim that, I mean, if that's the new standard, then just people are rolling with it. I mean, if that's what we've come to expect, then so be it. I mean, there's not a lot we can do to change everybody's, I guess, agenda when it comes to producing a game. Nowadays, it's about, hey, if I can create sort of a half-ass idea and somebody will pick up the pieces and run with it, and I'll make a little bit of money before I get out. I mean, that's what everybody's about, is the instant gratification, at least for games now, at least for smaller indie games. It's not that for all AAA titles. I mean, because we're still seeing a lot of franchises stay alive by at least wanting to put more time between development. Like, for example, Call of Duty, I mean, with introducing Sledgehammer games into the mix, and now Activision, parent companies giving them each 3 years to develop something on a life cycle, which is a lot of time, because there's so much money in the franchise they can afford to do that.
And this is Treyarch's year as well, which
that's right.
I love the Treyarch CODs.
Yeah.
Which ones did Treyarch do? I'm not a
Black Ops.
The older one.
Black Ops.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones I like then.
So the quality zombies, the quality version of zombies, basically.
Hey guys.
Hey, how we doing?
Join in.
Do you want to grab a seat,
Grab a
baby?
chair.
Okay.
But
But yes, that's kind of what we're looking at.
We've not covered that we should really with a lot of these early access games. Fucking hipsters. Hipsters are playing these games before they're cool. So the hipster market does demand. That must account for a lot of sales. Just a theory. I'll just throw that out there.
Well, yeah, you're probably not overly wrong.
By default, we've all got some form of facial hair, so we're all fucking hipsters.
Yeah. Well, apart from Vixen.
Oh, obviously,
that I can
hello.
see anyway.
Hey.
Oliver, he's rocking the beard today. Look at that.
Oh yeah, he is. He's got it.
The developer of Under the Sea, he actually said that there's something quite obviously he's gone through a pretty shit time recently. He said, but there's something quite liberating about hitting rock bottom, because it's only going to go upwards from there, I suppose. And to quote him directly, shit happens.
Well, I agree with him on the shit happens, but the rest of it's a little bit too cliche.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's completely. That's optimistic. I mean, that's awesome that at least he can have that sort of polite about him, despite the fact that everything's changing around him so quickly. And
well, that's I mean, he could have quite easily just said, this has all gone tits up. Fuck it, scrap it. Everyone's wasted their cash.
Yeah.
But he's actually going to try and make right, which, well, we'll see what happens in the future, I suppose.
I wish him the best.
I think there's more access success stories than what we're really hitting on, because we're hitting on the highs and the lows. How many early access games have you bought that were just all right? And you play them, and they weren't crap, they weren't terrific. And then we hear a lot of game companies, like the ones that are developing Pixel Piracy, the leader of that project just was like, you know what, this game, I don't like it anymore, walked away, and one of the developers stepped up and said, no, I believe in this product.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we could all name a couple.
That's a good thing. I don't think it was. Was FTL early access when we started playing it? It was.
Oh yeah, FTL started early access, and that's
an amazing game.
It has a huge cult following too, like very dedicated player base.
It's really good. I need to download that again actually, because that's a good game.
What if they could just keep taking like personally fun? I guess you could turn it into sort of a Kickstarter effort, like some games are now trying to do. Because if it comes down to Steam not doing exactly what they need to do in order to provide for you, then what I'm assuming is that it would almost make sense for certain individuals who have purchased the game, who are interested in the game, and are willing to put forward more money. Why isn't there some sort of more direct way through Steam to be able to offer that? I mean, I guess I get it. They need to be able to make their cut as well as whoever the initial publisher was. I mean, if it wasn't just a small group, right? I mean, that almost, you would think that would help. I mean, for projects that are falling apart like that, if there are, let's say even as few as 50 people play and enjoy this game every single day, what if those 50 people were willing to, say, double what they had initially paid if they truly enjoy playing a product that they want to see change?
It does happen. Crowdsource funding.
Is
that like a thing?
Well, I mean, is there?
Yeah, well, I mean, like RimWorld that I was talking about earlier, I paid $30 for it, which again, for an early access indie game, is incredibly high. But there was also other options. If I had donated, I think it was like $50, I could name a character after myself, and if I donated, I think the highest tier was like $240. You got to completely create your own NPC however you wanted, give it a backstory. It becomes like a hard to defeat boss. Like, there was options. Okay. And truth be told, I agree with you, Bruiser. I'd rather see games maybe not rush to Steam so quickly.
The issue that I have with Kickstarter, though, is that you can chuck a shitload of cash at it, but you don't necessarily... The Kickstarter doesn't include the game most of the time when it's finished, so you've got to buy it again. Sometimes well, not again, but...
Yeah, it depends on the title, but you're right.
On the developers,
like most times when we've seen that, that's definitely going to be something you got to be worried about, just investing your money. But I mean, I guess I mean more like the idea from it instead of what actually occurs on Kickstarter. But just as Muriel was saying, just being able to put forward and to be able to put forward more rather than just companies and publishers or individual studios that are a group of 5 people being like, you know what, let's just go to Steam. It's the thing to do. That, I mean, there would have to be a way for them to stay afloat without having to break off percentages for people who are choosing to publish their product. I mean, that would make more sense to me, because then it'd have a longer lifespan in general if you just took crowdfunding. At least I believe it would. I just personally believe it would.
It does happen. There's I can't remember which game it is, but there's one chap on the Altis Live server that allegedly had donated £20,000 of his own money towards the development of a game as a fan, not as a developer or investor, as a fan, actually giving that money up.
I hope they give him a free T-shirt.
T-shirt, Jesus, man! I'd want a bit more than that. I'd want like a unique sword or some shit. It's one in the world.
There better be a full-blown like side story DLC based on him.
But exactly. But straight up, these people exist, and that's the thing. Yeah. When I can't even remember the game, or we'll find out for next week. But when you've got people that are that passionate about something, there's anything is possible. It's just a lot of the half-assed piece of shit finished things that we're just getting thrown at us that are a waste of time.
We've seen it on Twitch. Sorry, Benj. We've seen it on Twitch, on Vixen's Twitch. Some dude just dropped into your channel, didn't he? Donated $20 and then fucked off again. I mean, some people have got...
Yeah, he was just like, this is random. I'm going to leave right after I do this.
That
Here
happens.
You go. Thanks.
That is the thing. There are people... I mean, there are people that do it for less reasoning. They just do it to do it. And I mean, that that type of concept. I mean, it's like if you care enough about something like a game, hell, I mean, if I could have put any sort of money into, granted, I haven't played a game recently that I've just been that passionate, or I guess,
Besides Skyrim.
Well, yeah, but I mean, something that's new. I haven't. There's nothing really that's new, like a new IPO that has come forward and been like, oh, this is going to be it's going to be a game changer. It's going to be incredible to play. You're going to love it. I mean, there hasn't been really that sort of invigorating experience, not recently for me. So I can't think of something I would actually give money to put towards developing, but I still think it's a great idea because, yeah, Rev was saying, I mean, there's clearly fans that do get to that point. I just think more of them need to come forward. I wouldn't say 20,000 worth of anything is necessary, but good Lord, I mean, but that's dedication. Do what you got to do if you feel like it's going to help the project.
That's also how we look at $20,000. Someone that has $20,000 to spend like that doesn't think of it as $20,000.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. Apparently not.
Like, here's some pocket change.
Yeah, that's completely expendable.
That's the thing.
But I mean, we talk about that though, Rev. Not Dying Light, DayZ. Since DayZ was on early access, what have you found since then that has been comparable?
I hate to do it, but 7 Days to Die again. Okay. Sorry, I'm waxing lyrical on this shit.
That you can stand a chance of winning at red.gamers.co.uk.
Yeah, you really should sign up to the newsletter. Apparently they do good podcasts and stuff, and some of the videos are pretty sweet too.
That's what they hear.
But no, to be honest, DayZ I just got butthurt because it's just taken so long. But at heart, I fucking bought my PC to play DayZ. I'm the game runs through my veins, and I love that shit, and I will go back. And to be honest, actually, before this conversation, I was watching some streams, and DayZ, to be honest, has come a long fucking way. I've not played in like 3 months, and now it might not be finished, and there might be another year of development to go, I guess. But it looks fucking beautiful, and to be honest, it runs super well, especially when you bear in mind that's come from the Arma 3 engine, which. There's a million great mods for Arma 3, but it is a clunky ass engine. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, and so I think they actually have done an incredible job, just not quick enough.
Yes, but I think one thing we can take away from this is that it is good things do come to those who wait. Yeah.
But if they try and charge me for the title once it's out, they can suck a big bag of dicks.
all the time individually or the whole bag all together?
All of them at once. I hope they show.
Just hold it above your head.
The whole bag.
Yeah.
It'd be like a Japanese business party or something. I don't know. Anyway, moving swiftly on.
While you guys are talking about a bag of dicks, I need to step away for a moment.
Why have you got a bag of dicks in the corner that you need to tuck into?
Get a hankering for a bag of dicks?
We do.
What on earth?
Got a wild hair?
Nah.
Wow, I forgot about that bag of dicks. I've got to get that in.
Yeah, let me just... But yeah, that's kind of...
I don't even know who he is, and I'm just like, a bag of dicks.
That's
bag o' dicks.
Yeah,
But that's I would agree though. I think that you mentioned just being able to, I guess, play something that you've noticed. You got your computer, for example, for that reason, and then you've left it, played other things, and then now that you've come back and you've looked at it, you've actually seen that project evolve a little bit, and that's awesome. Because I mean, I could only hope for that to be the case for just any other game that becomes kind of a cult classic. I mean, I don't think H1Z1's going to have the steam to dethrone DayZ necessarily, especially if it just is a slow rise to the top. I mean, I have my doubts, but we'll see. That's the thing.
They're constantly updating it. You're going to get. I mean, I'm stoked for Grand Theft Auto in the forthcoming month. So there's always something down the line. And when Morel's finished his bag of dicks, he's
You got something on your face.
It was a quick snack.
He comes back, he's like...
When you have skills like mine, it doesn't take long.
Just awful.
Just a little bit on your chin.
But that, I guess, just in a nutshell, I would have to tell you my thoughts on early access. None of them have ever been good. I just can't. I just cannot find a reason to justify it. At least not for me. Well, then again, nothing I've even been remotely passionate about. I mentioned that, her and I were looking at Deep Stranded, I believe is what it was called, and then, you kind of looked into it, Blade, and it wasn't exactly all it was chalked up to be. Although people are playing it, it doesn't really seem with everything else that's out.
It was emptier than the current state of Morel's bag of dicks.
Yes, see, that's the problem.
No, the dicks are still there.
You can't play an empty early access game or only have 5 or 6 things to do and then call that early access. You can't. That's not.
People aren't going to stick around, are they?
Yeah, I think what we need is a volunteer organization that it's just literally the standard on early access games. Just a website where you can go, and if you want your early access game taken seriously, you donate a review copy. They go through it, they rate it, is it worth what they're charging? They look at it over the course of a couple months. How are the updates looking? How is the community? And then you can just judge from there.
That's not a bad idea.
That would be a great idea.
They're bound to be out there. I mean, there's a website for absolutely everything, like www.mirelsbagadicks.com.
There is that. That actually was just trademarked. I checked.
Yeah,
18 plus only.
I like that page on Facebook.
Buying the domain as we speak. But yeah.
Oh, he's busy. Hold on.
It's just gagging.
So wait though. I mean, think of it this way: what if something like that truly did exist? I mean, imagine that's not a bad idea. Like if there was a group of individuals that I guess became well known enough that they were test playing early access games and streaming them consistently, and it didn't matter who it was out of the group, but they were playing the game for the sake of letting other people avoid spending their own money and doing it so consistently that people were feeling as if they themselves were getting a taste of what they were playing. And then it spares hundreds of thousands of people posting bug reports saying they feel like they've wasted time and money. They've put effort into something that doesn't have a future. I mean, I'm kind of surprised there's not like a team that is already orchestrating this idea, because that's kind of brilliant.
I know why there's not. It's because then those people wouldn't make any money because people wouldn't buy their product if this team was reporting the bugs for them.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be making any money at all, so there'd be no point for early access. That's what they do themselves before they release it.
No, I disagree. I think this would cut the wheat from the chaff. You wouldn't have to worry about, Warzies and other things. They'd come out and they'd be like, hey, you know what? This game, it's on Steam right now, $17. Tried it for a month. Here are the videos on our YouTube channel. Here's our Twitch if you want to keep track of it. And then go and be like, hey, personally, this is like an $8 game for me. If this was $8, I would buy it. And then people would know, hey, it's an early access to keep an eye on, but maybe on a Steam sale.
Yeah.
I'm not saying just get rid of early access altogether, because I love early access. I am such an indie scrublord, as Blade likes to call me.
I do. Yep. But you did two things. I mean, firstly, we've got YouTube, so people are putting these videos out. It might not necessarily be like there's bound to be a community of early access gamers only. Like that's what they do. There's bound to be, has to be. And if not, then fucking let's hop on it. But
the RHG
yep, her?
The Red Hot Gamers Early Access Squad.
Okay. Easy access.
There you go.
The Ridges.
But you know what else is those smaller developers, for the smaller easy access games, maybe not the big name ones, those guys there's gonna be offers getting sent to them in emails. Hey, will you do this easy access game and maybe say something good about it for a little extra something for if it was a known or like team. So that's why it almost has to be like YouTube videos or Twitch streams that just do it, because otherwise there's always going to be some politics, there's always going to be some money around in advertising someone's product that they're trying to make money off of.
But the other thing as well is that people are impatient, and this is partly why people do buy these games, because they can't fucking wait. It's gamers in general. Don't be a fucking hipster and buy it the day it comes out. Wait 2 days, for God's sake, and check out a review. The reviews will be out there. There'll be stuff
like
going
we did
out
with H1Z1.
This is exactly the point, man. Exactly.
You guys got it the minute it was released, I think.
Well,
no, we couldn't get it the minute it was released because
that's
it
right.
was a fucking server. It took full 24 hours before I could even get in, and then after half an hour, in fact, half a minute, I was like, "Fuck my life."
Yep. There you go.
The best announcement about that was that we can get our money back. That was my favourite part of playing that game.
Yeah.
Best update was the one that gave me my money back.
I'm very on the fence with early access. I do appreciate the fact that you can find some absolute gems in there. It's just that they're too few and far between, I think. I mean, you look at the Steam front page and you look at the new releases or whatever, it's just full of games you've never fucking heard of. You never will hear of them, and you'll never fucking play them.
Yeah, that's the struggle. I'd like there to be more valid, playable, and I guess enjoyable. What I'm looking for is, aside from longevity, I want replayability, and I think that's something that more people are just losing sight of, because they're like, oh yeah, the game's only $8. It doesn't matter then. And her and I were looking the other night too, and that's, obviously with the whole Square Enix developer sale or whatever they're calling that, everyone's super hyped because, oh man, it's a fire sale, get all these games. And there was one bundle in there that was literally like 35 games for $31 or some ridiculous shit. Right? Like, it was like a $250 bundle worth of actual, digital hardware, so to speak, and it was $31. And I'm just like, that type of fire sale proves to me that obviously the game had its heyday. It probably didn't sell very well, and then now it's just going for pennies online.
I don't think lumping them together, though, is the right thing to do.
I don't think so either.
Because there's a ton of games that are great that have ton of replayability. One that comes to mind is Habitat. It's a game I bought for literally $4. You are the last bastion of human hope in space, and you have to build a functioning spaceship out of garbage that's just floating there. I was flying around in a spaceship that had the Truckosaurus head for a weapon, and I shot UFOs at people. Tons of replayability. I wanted to go do a series on it on YouTube because I thought that would be a smash hit. Looked at Steam charts. 4 people played it in the last week.
Yeah,
I just think that the good games aren't getting enough press.
No, I agree.
As far as the replayability.
There is one bundle out there that is absolutely rock solid, and that's Valve's Orange Box or whatever it's called. Because everything in there is absolute quality.
What is that still a
Valve now?
Sorry?
The Valve are just seems like they got their thumbs up their ass, man. They've not.
They're still counting radials. They're working on their fucking
They're
Steam
making
OS
so much fucking money from Steam.
Yeah, it's stupid. They don't care. That's
anything.
The problem. They're done. All the talk of Half-Life 3, forget about it. All the talk of what is allegedly 3 years ago. They were people reporting. Game Informer, Kotaku, PC Mag. They were all reporting on they found game code of Left 4 Dead 3. Okay, fuck off. There's the product. It exists, but where is it? I mean, that's the thing.
But the same can be said for Diablo 3. I was following that when I was in grade 10.
Right.
It took forever, but it was a pretty solid product, and I'll defend that statement.
You know what the difference is plain and simply that when we were younger, when you bought a game, you paid 40 quid, which was an awful lot of fucking pocket money back in the day. Even if it was fucking horrible, chances are you would keep persevering with it because you'd paid 40 quid of your fucking pocket money.
You paid that money. Exactly.
Now we've got games. You can get a game for fucking $3.99 that some dude is developing in their bedroom, whilst sustaining a steady rate of being stoned, and it's going to take them fucking forever to finish that game. But the point is, that they're putting these games out, so we're sort of at saturation point now. And I guess that's the thing, Now we don't. It's like, when was the last time you listened to a whole album? Looking at music, it's true. Metallica Black Album, I could sit and listen to that whole album right now, but I don't remember the last album that I actually physically bought and B listened to from beginning to end. It's just we are now in that sort of disposable kind of state of affairs, and I think gaming is
gratification.
It is. It's the apex of that, and you've probably got millions of bedroom producers out there of games of music that are better than guys that are charting, but they ain't never going to get anywhere. And it just is how it is.
One thing about the albums,
is with games, you can do that.
I mean, you can release a product. It doesn't happen often. I mean, and that's
it's all about who you know in this kind of world that we live in. It's all about who you know. You can be doing some crazy shit out of your bedroom, and unless you leave your bedroom, no one's going to play your game.
Exactly.
Not as much.
Or not as much, yeah. No, it's not going to be a big blowout thing, and it's sad because they're the ones that actually put in a lot of hard work and effort for it and whatnot, and actually make a good game, and it's just because they don't get the ads.
But that's where early access comes in. You can put that out there. All you need is for a couple of reputable guys on Reddit for that to catch fire, and suddenly you're a player. You're part of the game. Whether it happens or not is a whole different thing.
Yeah, it's all up to that person.
I think it is an oversaturated market, though. I mean, seriously, that's the thing, is that when I get on Steam, it's overwhelming. I don't know what the hell to even look for when I just want to find a new game to play. I'm like, wow, I'm finding myself more and more inclined to want to just drive over to a fucking GameStop, and that's ridiculous. I mean...
But, realistically, this is the first time in human history where you can make $1 million off of a video game you made in your bedroom.
Yeah.
You know, look, even just 15 years ago, how many indie developers really were there in the stage? I'm willing to take a bunch of shit if occasionally a good game pops up.
Yes, I mean, in the past, if you didn't have a distributor or whatever, you basically had no product. You know, if you couldn't get the funding to do it, you couldn't just sit there and create it out of your bedroom and then release it to the world to play.
It's the access to the sorry.
No, go ahead.
The access to the technology as well and the software. You know, now everyone's got access to a whole fucking recording studio. You've got access to beer.
There, exactly.
And I think this is what makes a difference. You know, you can do all that stuff
and
yourself.
bags of dicks.
And that's Morel. He had them all, so there's none left anymore. But yeah, you know, it just, these things just simply weren't around 15 years ago. You couldn't have dreamed to have, if like a standard gaming PC now would, you know, the power that you've got in there, you can do pretty much everything, provided you've got some level of know-how and a whole lot of patience.
Yeah. That, and as my father constantly reminds me, is, and it was the same way, especially 15 years ago. Now it's a little easier it's more acceptable to be like, yeah, I made a game and it's really awesome and people are willing to pay for it. Whereas it's still slowly trending out of that point where if you made video games in your bedroom, you were a hermit, you were, you know, a nerd, you were, you know, weird. You didn't have a real job, you didn't do real job things, you know, that kind of thing. Even now, like, I tell my dad that I do Twitch and people donate money to me. He's like, well, so all you do is sit around in your room and work your thumbs out? I'm like,
You're a webcam stripper.
A lot of people's nowadays. Nowadays, you're like, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and sit in my room for 3 days on a constant high and make this awesome game. And it's a little bit more acceptable versus 15 years ago, on top of the access to technology. So now is the time to start making games if you are going to, because it's a growing industry that people are starting to respect now, finally.
Yeah,
that's also why there's so much shit out there.
I think the counterpoint to that is I actually took information technology in college, believe it or not. And I didn't do particularly well, but I went to school almost every day. And the year I graduated, I was present in the building the majority of the time. Let's just put it that way. Cafeteria had a pool table and I had a key, so, you know. Anyway, but the year I graduated, they implemented app development as a course. If you live in Nova Scotia, you can go to school to professionally learn how to make games for your phone.
Yep.
Sure, the market's saturated, but in 10 years, are we going to care? You know.
Yeah,
I don't think we will.
Imagine what it's going to be like in 10 years.
It's a major at my school.
Yeah.
It's a major video game development.
But it's like also becoming the Internet of Things, though. That's what I was saying the other day about Steam. Is it's just becoming. It's at the point where now it's either going to completely reinvigorate all the life that anybody has behind the possibility of a small indie game doing really well compared to other AAA titles, or it's just going to get to a point where everybody opens up Steam and you are so overwhelmed by the ads, the bullshit space used to showcase some new game that just came out, and all the new releases that are just constantly, every day, something new is submitted, and that's great, but hardly anyone has the accessible time to truly track down and find yet another good title. Like, discoveries don't really happen anymore. Even with popular Twitch players, I mean, and you look at big YouTubers, sure, you know, PewDiePie will say something about a game, and then 1 million people are playing it, but okay, are those same 1 million people playing it 3 months later? The answer is no. And
a week later.
there's no replayability to these hyped up titles that are discovered on Steam. They come and go. That's what sucks.
Did we talk about Octodad last week?
Well,
I think we may have mentioned something about it. I don't know.
It made $5 million, and that's basically because PewDiePie played it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'd have not made a fucking dollar.
Yeah.
That's in agreement, 100%. I mean, but then that's what I'm getting at is that you make the quick bank. That's what everybody's looking for. That's why there is the oversaturation of that market. It's kind of like with Android phones, and everybody talks about the debate of that versus the Apple iPhone, and then they're like, well, you know, that's the thing is that I don't get the iPhone because I can get so much variety and specs and screen size, colors, etc. with the Android platform, and that's because, of course, you're not thinking, well, okay, if I wanted true uniformity, I would go with an iPhone. It's developed by the same manufacturer for hardware and software. So, I mean, hate to plug, but then with Android phones, you're getting an OS strictly coded for specific hardware in most cases because, you know, Google's Nexus line is designed for a pure Android experience. But then you get all these custom user interfaces, right, on all these different phones, and then the market is saturated by the same product. So, I mean, you look at small games, and then you open up Steam and you look and you're like, wow, I just want to find a good game to play. Where the hell am I going to get an honest review for something that isn't just your Dragon Ages, your Metal Gear Solids, your Call of Duties? You know, you want to find something that's going to be good and new, but they come and go so fast. Like I said, it's lightning in a bottle. You know what I mean?
They have kind of done that with the curators thing on Steam. So
I mean, go ahead.
Well, this is, you know, so you can follow people that you trust, and you know they can leave their thoughts and opinions on said games. But then obviously that only works if they've played the games that you're interested in looking at.
Right, yes. And are words on paper anymore really truly going to have the same effect? I mean, even with Twitch, I mean, I'd be hard-pressed to find any of those games, for example, Octodad, that had an overnight success. Even Goat Simulator, that is within the last year. Goat Simulator has virtually fallen off. I mean, you had everybody playing that. T. Martin was playing it. What's the other guy? White Boy 7th Street was playing it. PewDiePie played it. I mean, so you had huge guys with millions of subscribers on YouTube. And then, okay, now do we have any reason to care about Goat Simulator? I mean, that's... You know, it's hit and miss so quickly. I just want to find one good game I can sink my teeth into that is an actual find on Steam that I'm like, wow, I only spent $20 on this. This is insane. And then keep playing it a year later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's early access mentality, though. You have to be the right mindset to get in early access. And one kind of question I wanted to pose to this consortium here, how many people regularly check Steam Greenlight?
I mean, I do. I mean, if I do check, to be quite honest, like when I get on Steam every day, I do go into kind of delve into the new release, the best selling for the day, the best selling for the month, etc. And I tear into that only because I have the tolerance to. But you're right, I don't think the average consumer is really going in and digging through the library. But when you truly see it, it's overwhelming. It is. I mean, it's like you're finally seeing video games the way you have digital music for the last 5 years. You get on there and
maybe we need to jump on that more, that maybe Greenlight could be the answer to our questions. You know, if enough people hop on the Greenlight, we know it's a relatively good product. Maybe all games have to go through Greenlight. You know, maybe something crazy.
Or maybe the bar of entry needs to be raised.
Yeah, but the problem is that Greenlight is kind of like the thrift shop or the jumble sale of games. You know, you're going to have to wade through a lot of shit before you find something good. And the problem is that generally with a lot of these early access games, you still got to pay something. Yeah. So you've got to pay something to find out whether it's good or not.
But not as far as Greenlight goes. Greenlight are games that haven't been released for the most part.
I thought you still have to pay
feel
for
like no, not Greenlights. You just kind of you vote. Games who get Greenlight get access onto Steam, so then you can buy them.
Interesting.
But they have to get
so then
like a certain amount of votes.
Why is it that you think, like Muriel was saying, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Blade, but he kind of made a point earlier about, maybe not everyone should just be up in arms and so quick to immediately rely on the reputation and the backing of Valve's company, or just their reputation primarily as more than anything. Like, oh yeah, I got my game on Steam. Is it when I think about small business, if anybody who's a true developer, I'm wondering what exactly has prevented other small games. For example, No Man's Sky, I mean, granted, they got picked up. They didn't have to really seek anybody out. But smaller studios, my thoughts are, if video gaming is becoming such an industry mainstay, and it is, because of the last 5 years we've seen a growth, and I give it 10 more years and it hasn't really hit its plateau just yet. But I mean, it's getting there, right? So in a decade, you'll get to where you truly are at a finer point where most society has accepted that video gaming is a thing. It has a staple in our generation's history, right? So with that in mind, why aren't more game developers relying on venture capitalists? Where the hell are if you have a real solid team of individuals and you guys have the brains to develop a game that's truly innovative, come up with a fucking presentation, go to a VC, fly out to Silicon Valley and pitch a game so that you are opening up with like $250,000 of money.
I appreciate what you're saying, but it's got to be in reality a lot harder than that, or else.
It is harder than that. I mean,
you know what though? It's not.
And plus, it's damn risky. I mean, like I say, who's to say that these guys aren't going to get burnt out or realise that they're not going to be able to do it in a year's time and just say, fuck this,
also,
we're out of here.
Big difference between some guy that sat in the evenings putting a game together in his bedroom and then trying to put a presentation together. That might be just something that's so completely out of their understanding and abilities that it ain't never going to happen.
No, and I agree, like, as far as presentations go, because as soon as you said venture capitalist, I was like, oh my god, yeah, just search for investors. But imagine, because, I mean, like Vixen was saying earlier, her dad was like, oh, you sit there and work out your thumbs. I tried to explain to my mom that I was starting a YouTube channel, and she just kind of looked at me. And we were both drinking. That was like when I figured that would be the best time to be like, hey, I'm wasting my life on video games. And she was just like, so you play the video games? And I go, yeah. And she goes, and people watch you? I was like, well, in theory, that's how it works. And she goes, why don't they just buy the game?
It's just not the time for it yet.
Just imagine trying to sit down, if you were able to get someone like Blade's age or Ben, Bruce, or Rev. Where'd I get that anyway? Yeah. There's going to be some kind of, like, understanding of video games. But a lot of these venture capitalists have been in this game for years, as far as investing money goes. And they're thinking about solid objects. If I go to someone, I'm like, hey, I want to open up a steakhouse. I'm going to need $100,000 for the building, and I'm going to need $20,000 to train staff. They're coming out of it. They're like, okay, I put $150 into this. Best case scenario, I'm making $1,000 a month off this guy for the rest of his life. Worst case scenario, he goes under in a week, and I own that building.
Yep, pretty much.
When you go to a video game, you can't be like, well, it...
especially if it's being developed in someone's room or whatever.
Yeah, and then the venture capitalist goes, and they say, okay, well, so we own the game if you fail? And they're like, yeah, you can have a bunch of Word documents if it doesn't do well.
I suppose they could remortgage their houses, but that's probably happened, to be honest.
It's just not the time period yet. We're still hoping for it, just like gamers have been for like the past 10, 15 years, hoping that someone's going to respect what we do or what they do or any of that. But it's just the general population. Most people, we're still the new generation coming up that actually respects developing video games, playing video games. We understand, it's just now happening that there is research coming out that video games can help autistic children. Those kind of, applications to video games as well that no one even thought about because they thought it was just for nerds that want to fool around. And unfortunately, they're still alive, 5 or 6 generations that never got to even maybe experience video games. Yeah. So those are the venture capitalists. Those are the people with all the money. The young people that have tons of money are the ones that are blowing it on stupid shit. So we can't even trust them. So it's just not our time yet, but it's coming very, very soon. People are starting to respect it. And as soon as the general population that maybe doesn't care about playing video games realizes the value of games and their visuals and how it can be applied to help people, not just be super fun, it's going to get a lot more respect, and people who are making video games in their bedroom are going to start getting some notice.
Yeah.
Well, one thing worth mentioning as well is obviously if you get someone who comes in as a financial backer, it don't matter whether it's a video game project, a restaurant, it doesn't matter what it is. When they take over, they do it because they want the return. They will financially back you because they want a return. Then you're back to the issue that we've spoken about before, which is deadline dates, because they are not going to wait around forever. So win, lose or draw, whether you're fucking ready or not, that game is getting released on the date that they give you. So if they say, well, you've got 1 year to get this finished, if you're a small developer, you can't necessarily do it. And we see this all the time, is there's dates put in place that it's not possible to finish that product on, or for whatever reason they don't. Maybe it's not a big enough team, maybe it's not led properly, there's not enough cohesion between departments, whatever. And when you're talking about a guy in his bedroom or a small team, those guys are going to struggle to get something finished within a set period of time. And that is when you've got a financial backer, that is the stress that you've got hanging over your head. And so...
Well, Blade, what game was it you were talking about that Buddy lost his house and his family and he was still trying to finish it?
Shit.
Oh, the Yogg game. The Yoggcast game.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Shit went to the shit house with that one. Can I say shit anymore? Shit?
I think we've said a lot worse.
Yeah. Let's chuck in a bag of dicks while we're out there.
Big old bag of dicks.
Do you have any left? Did you do them all?
Morel, are they all been ingested?
I'm going to be completely honest. Dicks are a lot like chips. You can't just eat one. Once you open the bag, it's done.
The Pringles of genitalia.
The Pringles.
Anyway, let's move on to sexuality and gender, shall we?
Well, I've done so much research on
And
this.
I'm not talking about Morel's bag of dicks this time.
We've already devalued.
Can I just say I'm so glad my
conversation.
girlfriend doesn't watch this?
Oh, she will. I'll tell her to. In the Philippines, there was a League of Legends tournament. That there was describing as all feminine, because that's a thing. But however, there was a stipulation that you could only have one lesbian or gay, bisexual or transgender member per team. And
LGBT.
That's right. And if you failed to adhere to that rule, you would be banned for a year from competing.
So how the fuck did they get proof about that?
But wait, though, here's the thing: are they better gamers? Because if so, I need to be gay. Are they better? Are they better gamers?
But this is I mean, this raises the entire issue that just by releasing that statement that they're assuming that lesbians or whatever are somehow better at playing games than straight women.
They put in more effort.
Not even that. Just by limiting to one, if they would have just said, okay, well, you are more than welcome. You know, if you were afraid before or think you didn't fit in to be able to do this before, come on in, that's fine. When they limited it to one, that just doesn't show that, oh, well, they may be better, so we don't want too many of those lesbians or gay people on our team.
Their powers would be over 9,000.
It's discrimination in itself. So they tried to do something and they went completely against it. It was a complete contradiction. Oh yeah, we are totally for those people, but only one.
Yeah.
Well,
I think one thing we need to realize,
superpowers in the Philippines.
Well, the thing about the Philippines is, first of all, I did so much research, and I'm going to make sure everyone is forced to listen to my half memorization of it. The Philippines, for starters, has 3 languages. So right there, you're trying, just in your own country, to make sure that all 3 languages understand. And as well, they have one word that kind of encompasses all the LGBT community.
Do they have a word for bag of dicks?
They may. Don't. I suspect they do. But I suspect, like, if you put it in Google Translate, it would probably come back as, like, a sack of phalluses or something. It wouldn't, like,
it just wouldn't work.
But on top of this, the thing is, we're looking at, it says all feminine, not all female. This is a tournament that said they wanted to encourage female gamers. But they also went the extra mile to say, we also accept men who self-identify as women. Now, here's another question. If we're going to start, nitpicking about this, what if I'm a woman that self-identifies as a man?
Right, yeah.
Am I allowed to take part in this? Because
Yeah,
we're talking
that's
about how you look at your gender. I think there was a bit of miswording that they simply wanted more or less to prevent...
A bit of miswording.
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about, again, a statement that they were trying to make okay in 3 languages that was then translated into English.
I would love to go for a drink with their PR team. I think that'd be
Oh
amazing.
yeah, no, I know. They
I
just
totally
two
see
of
what
them
you're
actually
saying,
killed
though.
themselves. So you can't. After that statement, they just they're done. They're out of there. They pulled
I
the
totally get what you're saying though. For 3 languages, I was not aware of that because when I read that, I got a little heated up just because of where I go to school. There is a huge LGBT community on top of a community of like transvestite and like pansexuals. I have someone close to me that's considered a pansexual.
The hell is a
I
pansexual?
think it's
Someone
That's the first
who
thing I said
loves
too.
people that never get old.
It's not someone with a fetish for kitchen utensils.
I'm Peter Pansexual.
Pansexual is basically you're not attracted to just male or female. You're also open to people who are men or male and identify as female, and vice versa. Basically,
Okay.
you don't
that's
discriminate according to your sexual preference.
yeah,
so
you're-
even if you
you're
dated a
easy.
transvestite,
You
you
take
wouldn't
anything.
necessarily be gay or straight or bisexual.
If it has a pulse, you're good.
yeah, if it
The
has
way,
well,
the
not
way to look at
animals.
pansexuals is you're going to love someone for that person, and you're not letting gender specifics come into it. So you're not thinking, I'm gay, so I only like men. You're
Yeah.
thinking, I love this person because we have a connection
You've said
that's
that
deep,
before.
and it doesn't matter.
Since he had that bag of dicks, he's changed completely.
It's because I'm like 3 beer into the day.
Yeah, if you self-identify as anything, I just think that statement, you're right. I mean, Muriel's got a point. It just, however the rough translation came across, and then the media ran with it, it only makes sense. But
Yeah.
regardless, that's the thing, is I read the story and then 2 seconds later thought, does anybody truly care about this aside from the isolated community of Riot Games? I mean, and power to them. I mean, League of Legends is huge and great and all, but I'm like, that's a pretty isolated community because when I think about the demographic that plays it, I wouldn't be too concerned about the lack of femininity. I guess it's more so the lack of just female in general that exists that plays League of Legends. Aside from those, mind you, that are on Twitch currently with their tits out doing everything they can to make sure that, there's 28,000
thing?
people viewing. That is a thing. Yeah, that's
I am
unfortunate.
so checking out League of Legends on Twitch as soon as this is done.
They should
I mean,
rename
well,
it
that's what I'm saying. Is
Pitch.
that there's no real story in that story. The only story that truly exists in it is just, as you mentioned, it's the wording of it. I mean, it's not something people need to run away
Well,
with. And
some
be like,
people were
That's
kicking
like-
off as well that there was running an all-female tournament in the first place. But I will defend that. I don't think that's sexist. I don't think it's discriminatory at all. Because for the simple fact that gaming for women can be quite difficult, shall we say, especially when you're obviously playing with a lot of men. You know,
yeah,
they can
that's
take-
actually the more important point. Yes,
they can
that
take
point
a
in
lot.
itself.
They get a lot of
But
shit.
how are they going to know? I know how.
Well, because
what's
this
the
is
joke
this,
online right now? What does girl stand for? Guy in real life. You don't have
no,
to.
but this
it's
is.
not like
I mean,
the
in a
NFL,
tournament
where they're
situation
sticking-
where you're all sat there and it's being broadcast, it's pretty hard to.
Just a bunch of
My
sweaty
opinion
guys
of
and
them
one
isn't
chick.
going
Yeah.
to affect how they play. I can sit
Well,
at
yours
home
isn't,
and
mate. But a lot of people's do. I mean, Vixen, you've had issues this week with a dude
Got his feelings hurt.
giving
Yep.
you shit on
and
Twitter.
let me make the point, Blade. I know where you're headed with this, and I don't even have to. I mean, you may not literally verbatim have this thought, but it has to do with the fact if she wasn't remotely attractive, he wouldn't have given a shit. I hate
No.
to say that, but that's true. But that is true because it
You're
goes the
right.
same with the female gaming community. That if I didn't think you were attractive for a second, I wouldn't give a fuck about watching you play the game. So
That's
you
why
have
Morel
that
gets so
effect.
much shit from Japanese
Here's
business.
another note.
It's true.
Here's another note. This guy just so happened to tell me that he wanted to fuck the shit out of me and that his pullout game was weak. The one fucking stream I put lipstick on. That was the only difference.
Yeah, so I mean...
That was the only difference. I had lipstick on. And you know what? When he came after me on my Twitter and told me that I should catch the rod.
That's right.
And yeah,
Wow.
yeah, that was my reaction.
Sounds like a classy guy.
So I was like, oh, dude, you just fucked with the wrong girl. Anyway,
Yeah,
but
I destroyed him.
Yeah.
But regardless, he came after me on Twitter and told me that, first of all, he told me I had the body build of a 12-year-old boy. Second, he told me
but he was gonna
that
fuck the
I
shit
should
out of
watch,
you.
or something.
Yeah.
He made a comment
Double?
about how much makeup that I wear or put on before my stream. The next stream that I had that next day, that he didn't say a single thing to me, he just happened to wait 24 hours. He was like, I'm going to fuck with this girl some more. I didn't wear any makeup at all.
I know, every
That's
Friday.
my day that I don't wear
every
makeup
Friday you
or
don't
do
do
my
that.
hair on stream.
Yeah.
No Fox.
So it's just like, that's what the guys are looking for on Twitch. They're looking for girls with makeup or girls with tits. Unfortunately, I only have one of those. So
But that's the thing, though, is that going into
What,
going
one
into
tip?
what you were saying is
Well, for
that
Friday.
like the stipulation of Blade, you're right. In a tournament setting, in the average community, I don't care what you say. It's not sexist. It's not anybody playing any sort of ethnicity card or anything to discriminate. The fact is, this community, it doesn't matter what the game is, still does not really cater to women. It does not matter how you look at
No,
it.
and
It's not a sex-related issue. It's the fact that primarily
And
men are involved in it.
I guess I
that's what
just
sucks,
have one
yeah.
more thing to say about the whole competition in League of Legends is how I want them, before they start making statements like that. First of all, they shouldn't have. I understand it was in 3 different languages, and it's not in America. This is where it was originally done. It was translated to English and stuff. It just, they shouldn't have said anything but we're letting anyone play, no
Yeah.
matter what your
Yeah,
gender
yeah, period.
identification is. There's no limit. You can play. It didn't have to be specific towards women. It did not have to be specific towards feminine people in general. Because here's the thing. Find a statistic and use that to back up your statement. See how many
They
women
sent
or
out
how many people
surveys.
identify as women are actually playing according to those who are signed up and who have played, say, in the past month. And then shoot that statistic out and say, hey, we've noticed that only this percentage of our players are women. We want to give you a chance to come out and play some more.
Right.
That's what they should have said. Not
They
they should
did
have said,
something
hey, we
noble.
don't think you guys play, so we want your boobs out. Kind of
But
thing.
that's
I know that's
not
what they
it.
said, but
They went and openly said that they were going to accept men who self-identified as women.
Yeah.
Which
Afterwards.
is important because the Philippines, as well as being the 11th friendliest country in the world towards the LGBT community, they wanted to make sure that transgenders felt included. They sent out surveys. There was actual Filipino people defending this and said that they sent out surveys to the teams that were already registered and said,
Interesting.
and based their judgment on these surveys that they sent out. I'm not saying
So,
that
I
what
mean-
they did was right, but
Yeah.
you look at it, what they did, it was noble. It was a women's only tournament that was named after, and I really wish I had the name in front of me, but it was named after the first female tank that was added to League of Legends from player demand, and they were doing it to raise awareness of female gamers.
Right.
like I say,
Yeah,
I
it
think-
had a good initiative.
If you're going to argue discrimination against transgendered, LGBT, whatever, you also have to argue against men. Because I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, just because I'm a woman, not a woman, doesn't mean I can't do this stuff. Sorry, I've had a few drinks. But what I'm looking at is this isn't the NFL. We're not strapping pads on these 80-pound women and saying charge at that 350-pound man.
Yeah.
This is a mental game. Again, my IT school had a scholarship specifically
That's-
for women. The only qualification was that you were a woman, because they viewed it as a male-dominated industry. So, at the end of the day, I'm going to say that they tried to do something really good. They cocked it up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They tried. I mean, they did.
I think everyone's agreed on that one.
It was
Well, yeah,
just a
that's-
bunch
It
of
got cocked up in
misunderstandings.
translation, too.
There's a few things about it that bug me. I mean, for instance, we've got Black Music Awards. Are people in the like taking to Twitter because that's racist? Because white people It's called Black Music Awards. I don't get it. Like, we're also not being funny, but the other side of things isn't, and it is kind of hilarious that Philippines, Thailand, it's sort of known for like your lady boys.
Yeah.
So, you know, over there the lines are a little bit blurred. I mean, everyone knows at least one person that's gone over there and they're a straight guy, but while they were over there, they had a bit to do with a Thai prostitute. You know, of at least one person.
Morel's one of them.
Does. So who?
Morel's one of them. Defend yourself, Morel.
For a second, he understands. He knows.
He just knows he's going to get that big old.
The silence proves everything.
But that's true. You're right. There is, the lines are pretty blurred with that. So that's why I don't think they meant anything by it.
I sort of initially I read it and I was like, raw, all angry about it. Like, what's this bullshit? Are they saying that women aren't as good at video gaming as men? Because I know plenty that fucking are. So, like, that's fucking horse shit.
I've never met one.
Never. Jesus, get out. And B, it's the fact it's where it is. If they'd made this, you know, like, would they do this in Russia, may I ask? Can you see this happening in North Korea?
If they did it in Russia, we'd all be praising them. We'd be like,
yes, and that's the thing. The fact is, the fact is they tried. But because it's sort of Philippines and because the lines are blurred, I actually, in the end, when I thought about it, sort of got it. It's a bit kind of like...
Can you imagine an American tournament that was like, yeah, we're all women, but we also accept men who self-identify as women?
Yeah, no heels.
Oh my gosh,
only.
it would have gone fucking nuts. People would have been pissed about it for no reason.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Everyone gets up in arms about all this shit, you know, and there isn't a lot... And I get it, because initially that was sort of my reaction, but then I kind of thought about it some more, and I just thought, well, like you say, I didn't even consider the language barrier. But, like, that's another issue. We're seeing what it's been translated as, and we all know you bang something to a Google Translate. Yeah. Sorry for using the term bang there. But it's going to come back entirely, or certainly to some degree, different to the actual translation in the home country. So maybe we're the ones getting it all twisted. And it's blown
here's
up
just it, though. One thing I want to throw out that jumped out at me after reading. I honestly researched this for hours because I was waiting for a fight. How many have you heard this from a legitimate news source as all female? The wording in the official press release was all feminine.
Yeah.
Feminine.
The only
and that's
time
a big difference.
That may be a translational thing as well.
Exactly. It's all about how you word it. And if it's straight from a translation and then it gets put on the internet in English, there's going to be there's going to be like me and Rev's reaction. At first I was like, oh no, they did not say that. But, you know, I understand exactly what you're saying, Meryl, because it does get lost in translation. And when you put something in English, once it's on the internet...
They should have just thought about it a bit more before they released it. Before they released the statement, they should have ran it through a few more people and said, look, is this going to be all right?
Just a League of Legends tournament,
if
maybe.
They would have included any sort of statistics they had to back themselves up, it would have come off as less of an opinion-sounding thing, because anytime you have an opinion, someone's going to get pissed about it, as more of a, this is what we noticed, this is what we're trying to change about it, versus this is what we're going to try and advocate. Because when they jump into that opinion pool, it's dangerous.
There's
one thing, though,
exactly.
Rev said this, though, in the beginning. As soon as we were saying, oh, you know, one transgender, he was like, oh, I'm a woman. And this is kind of the joke. But we're looking at,
could I put a dress on and enter that tournament?
Yeah. We have, let's say we have the
I'm a shit LOL player, though.
I'd have a track.
Okay, let's say we had a group of 5 guys that were half decent. How many can play in LOL? I haven't played that in so long. Let's say we have a full team of guys.
Yeah, it's 5.
We all go and we're like, oh no, we're actually all women. We're all transgendered. It's a really strange, crazy, random happenstance. What's preventing the guys from stepping in and just pretending? Because we're talking about a culture where it's not uncommon for men to take part in these ladyboy tournaments.
Dude, not uncommon. There's a point that we're all
ladyboy tournaments.
There's a point we're all missing, which is
term I picked up from Wikipedia doing research.
I'd quite like
that would be. I feel like the other teams, those who were legitimate, and the people that are running the program would be able to tell the difference, because that is such a sensitive life choice that you make to identify with a different gender, there's a lot of struggle and a lot of pain and a lot of confusion that goes with that. If you see 5 guys that are just pretending, not only is that really low and extremely disrespectful, someone's going to fucking know.
If us 5 rocked up wearing dresses.
The internet. We're not talking about normal people. We're talking about the internet.
Everything's on the internet. But dude, let's not talk.
We're not talking about normal people.
Put it on a broader spectrum, okay? What happens if you've got, and this happened in the past, athletics. So the Olympics. What happens if you've got Bender
competed in the Robo Olympics.
That's right.
Yeah,
as the woman from Robanda.
It actually turned out, bless her cotton socks, that she got a bit of both. And she, I believe, well, I've not seen her since. And it blew up in like it was world press. And I don't even think she knew that she was a hermaphrodite, basically. And you've got to put it in perspective. How many girls are playing NFL? How many girls are in F1? You know, so it goes on. It is all around us. You know, we're blowing it up because it's in this one competition. They worded it badly.
One thing I want to throw out there, though, is, and this is a conversation I actually had at work with my boss. There is a female UFC fighter that was born a man, went through puberty as a man, has the muscle structure of a man, went through gender reassignment surgery, and is now fighting in the UFC as a woman. Is that fair?
No, I don't think it is.
No, I don't think it is.
Personally.
I think it is.
I don't think.
But here's the thing, Vixen. If we were... I'm going to go out there on a limb and say I have a different body structure than you.
But of course they do. That's why they have the differentiation in actual sports. That's why they have men's games and women's games, because men are much...
Exactly. I mean, I was just about to say that, is that there's a reason that there's not a bunch of women in the NFL, is because there's not very many women that can withstand and compete with those men. Those men are huge. There's not very... If there was a woman that could, all the power to her, but we just aren't built that way.
Well, exactly. So this fighter in the UFC...
if I self-identify as a woman, why should I be allowed to fight in the UFC? Just because I've had a surgery to turn my penis inside out?
If mentally she's a woman, but physically she's a man, as such, then that still has to come into it somehow, I think.
This is where the confusion comes in, because I was thinking about this, and I was like, when you broaden it out in terms of everything, this is going on in every single sport, in every single event, everywhere. And so
that's just recently too. You realize all this hype is literally in the last decade. That's before this. None of this was even a conversation that people wanted to have.
It's because you weren't allowed to identify as another gender. You were just supposed to sit there in confusion as to what was wrong with you.
So that's what's.
So here's what I have to say about the UFC fighter: is it should not matter what she identifies with. If she's competitive, she should compete. If she's not competitive, or he's not competitive, then there's no reason to compete. But there shouldn't be even a thought of, oh, well, you're a girl or a guy. Can she beat you or not?
Don't get me wrong. I wrestled in high school, and some of the scariest wrestling matches I have ever seen are like between women, especially in the lightweight class. They are terrifying.
They're vicious.
I would never wrestle a woman in like proper Olympic
full of oil, by the way, just to put it in perspective.
But what I'm trying to get at, though, is the physical differences. We're looking at sports like the NFL and the UFC, where it's based... I'm going to be completely honest. If it was me and Vixen, and I suppose Bruiser's at the bar too because we're at a bar for some reason, some guy comes up with a knife and demands our wallets. Who do you expect to throw the stronger punch? Vixen or me? Or Bruiser, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
This is the issue that I'm trying to discuss, more or less, is why does it matter in esports? Because we're talking about the UFC. We're talking about a guy...
If you were a giant girl, it wouldn't matter. You'd still throw the bigger punch.
But testosterone is the muscle.
But also weight categories. You know, I mean, that's why you've got the middleweight, welterweight, heavyweight.
Maybe we'll start implementing that for like the COD teams, the Counter-Strike teams.
Maybe they should do it by hand size.
Bantamweight. If you've got larger hands, it's unfair. Long story short, I think honestly though, is it just going back to it? That's why I said it from the beginning. It wasn't even really a story within a story. It was just that, hey, what they should have just said is it doesn't matter what agenda they were trying to support or what initiative they had behind it. Don't limit it to being specific to a community or a group of people. Just say, hey, we're having a LOL tournament. Everybody show up, have a fucking blast, and let's do this thing. No one is offended anymore.
They do stuff like
where
that.
It's coming from, but because it's very supportive in the translation and where it originated from, like you said, it's the 11th most friendliest. So there's more people there to begin with that are going to accept that news versus here. But if it were in any other situation, it's something where it's just like, you know what? Instead of saying men and women come out and fight, just everyone come out and play.
Come out and have
Doesn't
fun.
matter what you are,
Esports
just fill in those blanks.
Has 33 million views on Twitch. They're a huge thing in the Pacific Asian gaming community. Mm-hmm. They host tons of LOL tournaments. What they were trying to do was do an all-female tournament, and then someone said, well, look around, not everyone who identifies as a female is an actual female, let's include them. And then bureaucracy got in the way, and it turned into a noble idea that just was shit and shouldn't have been attempted in the first place.
It was those keywords. It was those no one even read the rest of the article. It was just keywords that triggered. And that's what everyone nowadays who's going to put something on the internet or publicize anything needs to worry about. It's those keywords. Because no one will read what you actually say once they see those high debate, those kind of words. That's just how it is, unfortunately, still today.
The lines are blurring anyway. I mean, in terms of the whole gender-specific thing, I don't think it'll always be that way. Because, 50 years ago, just being homosexual was a crime. And I think in certain parts of the world, it very much still is.
Oh, yeah, I mean, there's stone people in some countries. We're still trying to figure out how to
communicate this very, very confusing, complex issue that people are now dealing with in this kind of a day and age.
Yeah.
Can I tell a story? I'll be quick. I love sharing this story, and I feel like this is the best opportunity to share it. I have a close friend in real life who met a man, and he's a male as well, on this video game that he played. My friend thought that he was in a homosexual relationship because they started doing, creepy online sex stuff with each other. Turns out it was a woman pretending to be a man. They have been together for 4 years now.
That's interesting.
I think this is one of the things we need to accept with the internet.
He married his catfish.
Pretty much.
Is he Octodad?
What?
Is he Octodad?
With your accent, I thought you asked if my dad was hot, and I thought that was a really weird question. But one thing we need to accept, though, no, my dad is a crotchety old man who kind of looks like you, Rev, if life just continuously hit him in the shovel with, in the face with a shovel. Just
I know what to look forward to.
That's fair play.
Right, let's move on from this. Okay then, so top threes this week. We were talking about mobile games and apps last week, so we'll go for our top three of them. If you want to kick us off, Bruce.
Yeah, let me see here. So I'd say mobile game-wise, oh my gosh, seldom does that have any sort of room in my repertoire of just gaming in general, but top three for that, I hate to say it, I would have to put Modern Combat in there. I don't know why it's obligatory, just from the COD player in me. Mm-hmm. Modern Combat is an excellent game that I've played quite literally all of them from, I think, 2. I don't know if it's specific to the iPhone. I do believe it's also on Android platform. I just don't know how many there are on the Android platform. Another big one that I would say that I love, because on the iPhone 6, to be able to run this thing's GPU the way you want to, oh my god, Asphalt. The game Asphalt is phenomenal. I don't play racing simulators ever, and I've got a lot of friends that are utter fanboys of things like Forza and Drive Club because they love the realism of it. I'm more of a cartoony driver sim type of guy. I want to play something like Forza Horizon, not Forza 5. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So Asphalt, oh my god, Asphalt 8 and everything that came after, has just been so superb. Like when you play it, it is even more realistic than the driver sims you would sit down and play in places like, for example, we've got places here in the States called Dave and Buster's that are just like these big, sort of a big conglomerate type of you eat, you play arcade games, and you shoot billiards type of thing. But it's a blast. So I would say, yeah, Asphalt's definitely on there, no questions asked. And then finally, I would have to say I really, really had a soft spot for Infinity Blade. I liked Infinity Blade a lot. I played all 3 of them. And I thought there was another one in the works, at least for sometime next year. I don't know if there's any truth in that, or there may have already been one. I don't know. I haven't really followed that mobile community very much, to be honest with you. But Infinity Blade was phenomenal. It was just another one of those games that, on whatever their graphics engine was for the mobile platform, it was just superb. So I would have to say those are my top 3 right there. Can't say I've played them recently, so don't crucify me. But still, that'd do it for me for the top 3.
That's cool. Morel, what you got for us, man?
Oh, let Rev go first. He has a time frame.
Okay.
Oh, damn it, man. I just took a drink. Hold on. Yeah. To be honest, when I first got touchscreens and stuff, I was really into playing just different games, whatever. I don't know, loads of stuff. But now I simply do not play games on my mobile. I just don't do it. So this was kind of a tough one for me. So I had to go with some legacy stuff, and maybe the only mobile game that I'm playing at the moment, which is sort of shit, and I know it. But that's the Dying Light companion, which is sort of crap. The stuff that you unlock, it's a clever concept because you can unlock stuff in that you then can send as a care package into the game. So you log in, go to the quartermaster, and you pick up all the stuff you've unlocked. Only thing is, it's absolute shit that you'll pick up out of garbage bins. In like 2 minutes, you'll have all that stuff anyway.
10 strings.
So yeah, exactly. So potentially you'd have to put hours and hours in before you get a shotgun. Well, I've had a shotgun for the last fucking 20 hours that I don't use in games, so there's no point. And yet I'm still playing it. I don't know why. So that leaves me with the only 2 really viable games that I ever went back to and ever put any real time in on mobiles. The first one is Minecraft Pocket. Which I absolutely adored, I have to say, and that was another one of these games that they kept developing it and adding new things, and it became pretty fucking good towards the end. However, it was never as good as a game called Survival Craft, which is basically like
Is this your number 1?
I'm going to put it as number 1, yeah.
Okay.
Because as much as I love Minecraft Pocket, Survival Craft was doing it and doing it better before. Yeah. So I'm going to have to go with that. But other than that, I really don't. I don't play. I've played Infinity Blade. I've played tons of these games. But if I had to pick a favorite, now I don't think I'll go back and play any of them. Truth be told.
That's fair enough. Go on, Emerald. What you got for us?
Oh, okay. Well, first off, I guess I'm going to start with my number 1 this week. Is Simpsons Tapped Out?
Thought that was coming.
None. This is a mobile game that I've been playing consistently for almost 2 years now. It's just, essentially...
Is it because you can put the donuts on your bag of dicks?
Yeah, yes, that's actually a feature. That's a feature.
Good
that's
feature.
Definitely a feature.
But, and mobile games get shit on a lot, and especially, like, the casual market, like the Farmvilles and that, for do you want to wait 24 hours or pay money? I have honestly never put real money into the game. It rewards you enough with premium money to keep me coming back. I've saved up enough for Dr. Nick. I'm waiting until the end of Valentine's Day.
I'm Dr. Nick.
But I clean them with my napkin. Anyway. Number 2, I'd have to go with Clash of Clans. Again.
Oh, God.
No, you know what? I was the exact same way. My brother got into it. And he was like, "Oh, you have to try Clash of Clans," and I was like, "No, I'm not playing Clash of Clans."
Did you see the Super Bowl advertisement for Clash of Clans?
No, because
featuring Liam Neeson.
I only watched the last 2 minutes of the Super Bowl. I'm going to admit it.
That's all you needed to watch.
I have a very particular set of skills on Clash of
Clans. But the thing about Clash of Clans is it has the community is there. And I know you
just
guys
wait until I find you bastard.
So I am going to keep going anyway. Fuck you, Blade. there's like once you join a clan,
that dude has worse luck than Jack Bauer.
He does.
You can chat with your clan in the game, like real time while you're playing.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, that is interesting.
And you can have a war, I think like every 2 days or something. So you're fighting actual PvP against other players who have set up their base. You get to try and beat them, and the whole time you're coordinating with your people. It's a great community, and I don't care what you say, Blade. You can just go pound sand and then suck a big old bag of dicks.
I wouldn't want to take your spotlight.
He would if they weren't all gone, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really played that up earlier. I should have waited, because that's my go-to insult is just suck a bag of dicks, and now I feel really naked. My third would be Knights of Pen and Paper +1. It is.
Never heard of that.
Oh.
I got it. It's $1.99 on Google Play. I don't know what it is for those,
Well, that translates to pounds, about 14 pounds.
But,
especially Canadian dollars.
Yeah. Well, the price of oil dropped. Oh my god! I tried to sub to WoW. I had like $20 on a card, and they were like, "We don't know why this isn't working. It's because the exchange rate killed me." Oh my god!
Why, have you got
the
shares
Canadian
in
dollar
oil?
Was worth 15 cents less
You do
than
look Russian.
I had expected.
I need to get
terrible.
you to buy me Steam games and gift them. That's what I need to do.
Yep.
That's what you should do. Set up a service, Morel Games Inc., where basically using the Canadian dollar and its diminutive nature against the pound, you make £1 every time someone uses your service.
I'm not saying that this is a good thing to do at all. And
I fucking am.
And you, hold on. I haven't said my idea yet. And I know it works. Not that I've done it. Don't report me. If you use a VPN, a virtual private network, and you connect to a Canadian server or a Brazilian, I think is the best one.
Or Mexican or Russian, if you really want to save money. Just put
exactly. Then you can buy games off Steam, off Origin for cheaper. There you go.
That happens.
Thanks for destroying
Money
my
saving tip.
Am I allowed to continue discussing my favorite mobile game, or my third favorite?
Do you have anything more to say?
I only said the title and the price. Jesus fuck. No, just honestly, great game. It's like a tabletop RPG, but you play it by yourself. It's great. It's like playing Dungeons and Dragons, but you don't have to talk to people.
Is that something you like to do, Morel? Play by yourself?
Yes. I play with myself all the time.
Oh god.
Not a day goes by that I haven't played with myself.
There you
this
go.
is just...
Since the age of 12.
Jesus Christ, this just got really dark, guys. Really dark.
Since I discovered
as
you could
dark
turn
as
off
the
Google
inside
Save
of a
Search.
bag of dicks.
The empty bag.
Oh Jesus.
Anyway, my top 3. My third one, I'm going to go with Piano Tiles. It's probably a bit crap, but
Googling as we
I enjoy
speak.
it. Yes, it's like Guitar Hero, but it's piano based. So it plays a nice piano. You are actually Googling it.
I am, yeah, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, so you've got white and black tiles, and you have to hit the black ones, I believe it is. And yeah, it's like Guitar Hero. It comes down, you have to tap it, it plays the fucking song. Simple,
Piano
easy.
Tiles, that's what it's called?
Yeah, it's on iPhone. I don't know what it's called on other devices. It might have a different name. Number 2, it's not so much a game as such. It's the FIFA Ultimate Team companion app. It allows you to pretty much do anything that you would on the game, apart from play an actual match itself. You can go on the transfer market and buy more players. You can open packs of cards. You can create squads and whatever. It's amazing. You can be at work on your break, set up a team for you to play when you get home. Number 1, I've gone for Hearthstone, seeing that it is now available on iPhone and Android devices. It's basically a carbon copy of the PC version. The only niggle that I've got with it is that although you sign in with the same Battle.net account, it doesn't have the same cards that you have on your PC version.
Seems really convoluted. I'm confused by that. Wow.
So
really?
you have to go through all the sort of solo play again.
I figured it would have been kind of seamless, but Then
That's what I thought, but I logged in and I've got no cards, and I'm like, shit.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
You don't have the god deck on you anymore.
Yeah.
He had a taunt deck for a while that was just
the taunt deck was
miserable.
amazing. You just couldn't break
miserable.
through it.
That's exciting, though. I mean, at least somebody here has got some loyalty to mobile games, or is like, I look at my iPhone and I'm like, I don't really do what I should be doing with this thing and what it's capable of for mobile games.
It's because I think we're past it, generally.
It's because
I feel like that hype was pretty real for a couple of years, and then people were like, oh yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
Weird. Who
Apart
cares
from the
about
people
that?
who don't play games a lot.
Yeah, I think the casual game market is really where it's at. Like, I love the idea of companion apps, but almost entirely they are shit.
Yeah,
I mean, look at Watch Dogs. I mean, aside from the fact it was a half-finished game, it was a half-finished app. I tried to do I can't even remember what you called it, where you could control like the traffic lights while people are in game, and you can make it difficult for them. Never worked. Never.
No,
you connected, disconnected. And I'd be in game, and it would notify me that someone was trying to hack the lights or do whatever that part of the game was called. It never worked. It was a nice idea, but once again,
Rest in peace, Watch Dogs. Rest in
I think,
peace.
to be honest, though, companion apps is the way to go, and I think that's the way it will go because it's cool. Like with the FIFA thing, they've got it right. That's a brilliant idea.
Oh yeah, they got that spot on.
It's just a shame that they can't do that more. And I think most gaming companies, it's any kind of companion app is like an afterthought, as like a little sweetener for the game, but they just don't bother.
Yeah.
They've probably got a guy in a basement, like, oh yeah, throw this app together. Here's the ideas. Okay, fine. Never gets finished. Never quite works. Piece of shit.
Okay, guys, thank you all for joining me. Just before we leave, just a reminder, if you want to be into that 7 Days to Die giveaway this month, thanks to the Fun Pimps, go to redhotgamers.co.uk, sign up for the mailing list, and it'll be drawn at the end of this month. You can check out Bruiser at twitter.com/the-techno, that's as in Moby, Krat, all one word. Morel is twitter.com/gaming with Morel. The Reverend, twitter.com/the Reverend BJ, and me, twitter.com/Play Gaming, and Vixen is twitter.com/hidden Vixen hidden. Sorry, it's hidden Vixen on Twitch. Thanks all for joining me. It's been an absolute blast. We've talked about some great topics this week. Until next time, guys, we'll see you later.
You're listening to the Red Hot Gamers Podcast at www.redhotgamers.com.uk.